We are extremely excited today. We have a super special guest on our Cynic Culture. 8-time Grammy award-winning artist, Chris Stapleton's Bourbon. Welcome back to our Cynic Culture. I'm Matt.
Jason.
Andrew.
And we are back after New Year's break, 2023. What year is it now?
2024-ish?
Is it 2024?
Probably.
Something after 1991.
I've already got the date wrong.
I'm in 96 in my mind.
Yeah.
98, maybe.
Yeah, I went to the hospital for this finger bullshit and I had to write the date down. Like, trying to write down 2024 like on a piece of paper is literally impossible throughout the month of January.
I would agree.
It's always going to be
2023. It's kind of interesting watching the episodes of the progression of the finger injury.
Yeah.
It's nothing's wrong, and then, oh, shit.
Yeah, it's like, 'tis but a flesh wound, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, let's just go ahead and cut it off. So, Andrew, it's good to see you, buddy. How have you been?
Been great.
Yeah, what have you been up to, man?
After the holidays, so finally time to
Get a
hit
little
the
break.
breaks.
Take a little breather.
Kind of. At first, we had to do a bank audit, so that's always a nightmare.
Inventories.
That
Sounds like very exciting stuff to talk about on a show. I want to hear all about your bank audit.
100%.
Yeah, what happened with the bank audit?
Banks suck. This still relates to work, but I'm actually just accepted a position for a promotion.
Oh,
To
congratulations,
be the general
man.
manager at the Chevy Chase store.
No way, man. No
permanent
wonder we can't get
vacation.
you on the damn show anymore.
Chris Stapleton says, yeehaw!
It is closer to up.
Yeah.
nice. That is nice.
That's right. Wait, which location did you say?
Chevy Chase.
Chevy Chase.
Oh, okay. Wait. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm trying to like map out like all the locations.
Lunchtime at
Fox
the beer
56.
trap.
Fox
Yeah.
56, baby.
That's awesome.
You got bourbon in Toulouse right there,
Yeah,
too, right?
I'm going to be eating great.
Yeah,
I
so-
said, fuck the deli.
Are you there now?
No, so
Okay.
probably be a couple weeks to a month or two-ish.
Okay.
But however quickly it
That's
gets
great, dude. Like, I can't wait.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Congratulations, seriously.
I can't wait
Appreciate it.
for like all the B-Tax to come out. You can just give them to me for free. That's
It's
glad
a pretty
we-
small store. Don't know if
Well, we
you've
just
seen
need
it.
2 sets. That's all we
The
need.
store's like
We
the
don't need
size
them
of this
all.
basement.
It's hard to produce 2 sets when you get a negative amount.
They actually take away inventory to supply other stores. Oh, you've had this in the back since 1994. We're gonna put it over here.
Fantastic.
Jason, what have you been up to, man? I have not talked to you.
It's been
in
at least
like
3 minutes.
20 minutes. Yeah.
Well, besides going on all these awesome barrel picks up
Oh God,
that you're
damn
jealous
you're
of,
fucking
we got to go to the Bengals game this past weekend. My son's a big Bengals fan, so even though we went to a game that didn't matter at all, it was still pretty fun. Got good seats for cheap.
Hell yeah.
Had a great time, but then afterwards he had a little shellfish allergy and had to go to the ER. That was fun. But he was good. He's good. He's safe. He's good.
That's great. That is good. That's horrible, but that's good that
We
he's
forgot
safe.
our EpiPen, but now we know.
My daughter has a very severe shellfish allergy as well.
It can be scary.
And we have not been in that situation. I know you've had, well, you're,
twice.
Yeah, G's a lot older than Finley is.
Both
but like,
times Mexican restaurants got us. Both times fajitas. So beware of fajitas because I think what they do, even though you tell them, they cook it on the same damn grill.
Mix all that shit
And if
together.
you had that like shrimp touching over, man, I saw it in the restaurant and I'm like, face getting red, like a little splotchy. And I'm like, Garrett, are you okay? He's like, yeah. Get in the car after we're done eating. I think I'm having a reaction. I'm like, shit. Had to figure out where the nearest hospital was. We actually, so when we went to the hospital in Northern Kentucky, they had a urgent treatment center right by it.
Yeah.
And just so happened I made the right to go there, so we went there first. Nobody was there.
Yeah.
Walked straight in, got taken care of. But it was
I feel like in a
little scary.
situation like that anyway, where you're just like, I can't fucking breathe. Like, I mean,
He
just
couldn't.
walk in.
Yeah, it was. I mean, even been in the medical field, it's just you're not expecting that. So anyway,
still a
he
good
still had a good experience. Loved the Bengals. So and they actually won. He beat the shit out of the
Good
Browns'
deal,
third
man.
string or something like that.
I was, we were talking a little bit. I actually just remembered we were
We
talking
hadn't asked you yet, Matt. What have you been doing?
No, I want to. So we were talking
How
about.
has your life been lately? Any more flamingo parties and pineapples and shit?
I want to talk about
Have
this.
you been at Warehouse X? I'm just asking.
Warehouse X. What is that? We got to
I'll tell you
bring it
all
up
about
at
later.
least
I'll tell you all about it.
at least once in every single episode. Warehouse X. Nothing, man. Just after New Year's, just trying to like settle back in after being sick. I was looking over the news. Do you all know anything about nuclear fusion?
I am not a nuclear fusionist
Bomb?
or physicist.
Well, yeah, well, that's like, and that's the way it breaks down. There's
Manhattan
like,
Project.
yeah, there's like fission and there's fusion.
I
Okay,
have no idea. I trust you.
yeah, and fission,
Fission's earthquakes, right?
fission. Well, nuclear fission is the basis for where we bombed Hiroshima.
Okay, that's
And-
fission.
Yeah, and we actually destroyed a country. But if you harness it correctly, you can actually create a lot of energy.
I've heard
Our
this.
nuclear power plants are based on fission. The problem is that it also creates a lot of byproduct waste, like nuclear waste. That's all the shit when you hear like about like issues at what's the one up in
Chernobyl.
well, Chernobyl was like a horrible catastrophe, but like.
New Jersey-ish.
Yes.
3
like,
Mile Island. Or
yeah,
something
exactly. 3 Mile Island with like all like the
know where the hell I
nuclear
pulled
waste
that
and
from.
stuff like that. Oh, yeah. See, I knew you fucking knew. Act like you don't fucking know.
Learned that in
It's
school.
like savant over
I
here.
learned it.
8 Mile.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Eminem, baby. Let's go.
8 Mile Island. Yeah. But yeah, so I think this is super exciting. But scientists at some facility, I think it was in California, I can't remember. It's in the United States. They've actually been able to recreate a fusion experiment. I'm gonna tie all this. I'm gonna like show you what.
I'm trusting you.
Yeah,
A few minutes later.
a nuclear fusion experiment to where they're actually able to create more energy than they put into the experiment. And with nuclear fusion, your byproduct is, I want to say, water and helium or something like
Did
that.
they make bourbon out of it? The water?
I was just about to ask that.
But they actually create free energy. So we actually are on the
fitting.
precipice for like all this electricity and shit. Everything that we use to like heat our houses and to fucking cook our bourbon.
It's free.
it fucking-
Fantastic.
Yeah,
So they
the
figured
government-
a
the
way to
government will
make it
find-
more efficient to give us power.
Yeah.
But they're going to charge us more.
and they're
for
gonna
it.
At
and
least
that's-
triple. At
and
least
that's where it
tri-
comes
I'm
down
thinking,
to. Like whoever gets in on this and like starts like actually creating
I
it,
might become a nuclear fissionist. Is that what's called?
that's exactly
A
what it's
nuclear
called.
I'm gonna be one of.
fisherman.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
be one of
Fisherman.
those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
got it.
Well, that's actually the old technology. So then you would actually.
I'm gonna be the
obsolete.
new version.
Fusionist.
Yeah, fusion.
Seriously,
fusionist.
though, I think it's like super. I know it's super like scientific overhead, but like it actually relates to everything that we do, and
Oh,
like
for sure, if you can harness it and not kill 800 billion people.
it's extremely safe as long as you can like create more energy than you put into it. It's fucking fascinating. People at home listen to it. This is seriously right now what is happening. This is the beginning to like a new era. I'm not even shitting you. Like we're gonna have facilities now that are gonna be able to create energy that are going to power the entire country.
I just like to have a solar panel to save my
I was
electricity
about to
bill.
say this.
You ain't
kinda
gonna
sounds
even-
just like solar panels.
Motherfucker, you ain't even gonna need solar panels.
I do for now. If you can get me one, buy me
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, well, don't get me into photovoltaics and
I
energy
think I can
efficiencies.
afford a 2-inch by 2-inch solar panel.
I got a solar panel that plugs into my phone, and I can put it up in like a tree when I'm in the woods, or something like that.
It takes only 37 hours.
We
to
get
charge.
Yeah, exactly right. So anyway, we do not have Chris Stapleton with us, unfortunately.
I thought we did. That was me.
Yeah,
I look just like him.
yeah. Well, you had the ladies' cowboy hat on, so you looked exactly like him.
I think it was a very nice cowboy hat.
Yeah, but we do have his new collab with Buffalo Trace.
Oh, yeah.
Here.
Oh, yeah.
Jason, I'm assuming you've done some research on this
I
product.
did a little bit.
Yeah.
So this ball right here released on January 4th of 2024 with an MSRP of $39.99. This is from Buffalo Trace, probably the hottest distillery, I would say. This is a whiskey, a blended whiskey, not a bourbon, and we'll tell you a little bit about that. So, again, secondary sites that we talk about, or the bourbon aftermarket, whatever you want to say, went wild when this was released. Okay. So this jumped up to $200, the first one that was sold.
Okay.
Kind of crazy.
Person.
And
No
this is
shit,
a
right?
Lucky
90
person that sold
90
it,
proof
at
bottle.
least.
So this is a 90 proof bottle. This is the first celebrity collaboration with Buffalo Trace that they've done. You know, you look at like Wild Turkey did the Long Branch with Matthew McConaughey.
Right, yep. Yeah.
There's been a few. And then this is
Steph
blend.
Curry.
That's right, Steph Curry. We tried that on
Yeah,
here.
we did one of those.
Tried that on
You
here.
know what's been consistent with all of them so far?
They've not been great.
Yes.
but hold your horses. This one might be. So this is blend 40, and this blend is what was chosen out of 50. So allegedly, the master distiller at Buffalo Trace, Harlan Wheatley, and then Chris Stapleton actually tried 50 different blends, even though Chris Stapleton doesn't drink. I don't know
that's
how that
odd.
happened. Maybe if you drink in a tasting, it doesn't count.
Yeah. Well, that's like us. Whenever we do the
I've
show,
never drank before.
It only
actually.
counts if you want to get drunk.
Well, it's
if
like-
you get drunk,
That's a good
by
point.
accident.
That's a good
Yeah.
point.
Well,
See,
we
we
have-
don't count beers.
yeah, we have a mantra here. It's like beer don't count. So whenever we start drinking, it's like, yeah, this is my first pour of the day. But
had
we don't
one
count.
pour.
We don't count the 4 or 5
I
beers
only
that we had
had
before.
17 and a half beers.
Beer don't count. Yeah.
Don't count. So again, this was bottled at 90 proof, so same as Buffalo Trace. Non-age stated. I'm assuming pretty young. Let's go ahead and open that, Matt, if you don't
Yep.
mind. I'll keep talking.
Yep.
So with this one, it's a blended whiskey. So what that means for this product is it's 51% bourbon and then 49% grain neutral spirits. Andrew, do you know what grain neutral spirits are?
Vodka, Everclear.
Correct.
And honestly, even still, with blended whiskey, it's kind of like the Wild West. Is it 51% bourbon,
Sure.
49% grain neutral spirit, or is it just alcohol that's brown in color?
Yep.
There's mainly one word that's a big designation for whiskeys that's not on there, but technically two. It doesn't have the word straight or the word Kentucky. So
But it has a nice
There's-
map on the back.
That is actually the most important aspect.
It-
Gotta have a map.
I have said that.
It is pretty
already
nice.
several
It is pretty
times.
nice.
since,
Yes.
Since I first saw the bottle, I was like, okay, I actually do like the map design that shows through from the back.
It's cool. It's cool. Like
Reminds me
simplistic,
of
but it's
a
nice.
Town Branch bottle.
Agree. It reminds me of, gosh, there was something else we had on here before. I'm trying to think. Oh, I'll tell you what it reminds me of. Castle and Key, first edition, the gin they did. They had a
Oh,
map
yeah,
on
yeah,
it.
yeah.
It was a very nice bottle. Very nice.
You know what's
bottle.
funny? I had a.
You probably got one.
I have a bottle.
Yep.
I got it from when they first started distilling, and I just opened it like 2 weeks ago.
It's solid if you like gin.
Yeah, it's a potent gin.
Very,
like I
very
feel like
very
as far
potent,
as gin
very
goes,
potent.
it's like I think it was like 51% alcohol,
Could've
something
been,
like
could've
that.
been.
I mean, it's as far as
Theirs are usually a little bit higher on ABV.
Yeah.
I tend to, which I'm not a gin drinker at all, but
Yeah.
the ones that I've enjoyed better have been their spring releases. They
Gotcha.
tend to be more bright in flavor,
Okay.
citrus forward, stuff like that.
Yeah.
The fall ones almost kind of taste like you mix gin and Jägermeister together.
okay.
Like,
Yeah.
They add those, fall spices
Yeah.
in along with the juniper.
I need to look that up because I'm really big into like mixing now and like kind of creating different cocktails.
Yeah, more so than me. Like, what are some? If you make some with gin, like,
Yeah, so I decided to try to make a pomegranate martini. I thought it'd be good.
Sounds good.
When I was back in my bartending days, I was working at a bar and we had
is that Arby's or McDonald's or?
yeah, it was actually part of the Arby's that
Curly
created the
fry
Arby's
vodka.
curly fry. Yeah,
Oh, we
Whiskey,
tried that. We tried that.
Yeah,
We tried
Arby's
that shit.
whiskey, yes sir, or the vodka, whatever it was. I can't
Same
remember.
thing.
It all tasted the same, honestly.
It was a blended whiskey
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah, but we had. I remember there was a liqueur back then called Pama, P-A-M-A.
I think I've seen
I mean,
that.
it's just
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's kind of basic. It's good though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like pomegranate liqueur. I was like, I'm gonna make a drink with that. So I bought some from the store, brought it home, and I was like, oh, I want to use gin. I want to make a martini. I didn't have any gin. Like, I don't drink gin.
Yeah,
I
same
need to
here.
keep some like Beefeaters on hand or something like that. But I had that bottle of Castle and Key, and I was like, you know what? Motherfucker, it's time to open the Castle and Key. And I poured it and I made it and I took a sip and I was like, this is really good. And then like right after I took a sip, it just got like my mouth exploded with like juniper and flowers and stuff like that. And it was like so potent. It was great at first and then it just overpowered everything.
Is that what your beard's made of? Is juniper and
my
flowers?
beard?
Just
It
went
could
in the
be.
backyard and pulled all the
Yeah,
vegetation out
yeah.
and said,
That's what it tasted like, and it's like it was so potent. I was like, give me something a little bit more palatable, just like a little bit more.
I think
mellow.
gin's good in the cocktail, but
I feel like
I
the
couldn't
barrel
make
aged
it.
gins. Like
for
New,
sure.
Yeah,
New
for
Riff
sure.
does a really good one.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
It kind of.
I don't think I've had it, but I've had some barrel aged
back
ones.
a lot.
This is why I like having you on, man. So we're gonna do a gin episode now. I'm deciding. That's not even sarcasm. We're gonna do a gin episode.
Indigo's a good one. Tastes
What,
like
indigo?
strawberry vodka.
Okay.
Snoop
Really?
Dogg's.
See,
Yeah.
this is.
I'm in.
I
I'm
like.
in.
I like. I like
Literally
doing new
does
shit.
not-
Does,
Like,
does gin
I've tried
count
it.
for your first drink of the day? It doesn't count either, does it? Just bourbon.
Gin
will
might count,
Yeah.
but you know what doesn't count? Beer don't count.
Beer don't count. Beer don't count.
Beer don't count.
Let's pour this.
Yeah. Okay.
So the rumor mill on the internet goes wild, shockingly. I know, the interwebs. So the blend of this, we talked about the bourbon or whiskey, and it's a blended whiskey. We talked about bourbon and then also grain neutral spirits. But the rumor is this is Buffalo Trace or Barton, actually, and it is blended with Wheatley vodka. That is the rumor.
What?
That's what they say. That's what they're saying. Now that has
vodka.
been denied by Buffalo Trace.
Okay.
So a more,
It makes you wonder where that rumor just would have
else
stemmed
two
from.
products from Buffalo Trace, right? I mean, you think
Well,
about it. So Barton is Buffalo Trace. I mean, it's under the Sazerac brand.
Yeah.
So from what I can tell online, this is Barton. It's a Barton blend. So Barton bourbon blended with, they say, a large portion of Canadian whiskey. Now, who knows?
Who says a large portion of Canadian?
Well, I went down the Reddit hole.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, that's the best info I could have.
Okay.
I mean, we're 7 days in on this?
Yeah. So it's just the man.
Yeah. So the man, but we don't know. We don't know what this is. So hopefully, it is good. Now, let's get the nose on this one. So what are we getting first?
Actually, so what was the proof on this?
This is 90,
95?
just like Buffalo Trace standard.
I feel like I get more booze on the nose than I would like to.
Get more
for a
what?
night. More booze on the nose. Like we talk about those fusel notes. I feel like I get more than that on the nose than.
It's also a fresh crack.
It does smell more of like a Canadian whiskey. It has that kind of like sweeter vanilla, almost kind of like a light cherry car refreshener type. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like the little pads that you pull the tab off on top. Like that's almost kind of.
I'm literally just getting on the nose, not a whole lot. Maybe a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of oak. That's all I'm kind of getting on it. But I mean, dark. It's dark-ish. I'm assuming.
But see, that's another thing.
Added.
They don't have guidelines, so they can add stuff to it. It's just like,
hey, wait, no. Chris Stapleton will not add shit to his bourbon that he does not drink.
but the Canadians would because they are legally allowed to do so.
Let me tell you a story though.
Yeah.
So Chris Stapleton, my brush with fame. I was in Lexington, Kentucky.
15 seconds of
probably
fame?
about a minute and a half. But anyway, we were at Lina's bar here in Lexington. They changed the name, so it wasn't Lina's. But I'm there to watch the Johnson Brothers, a band that I'd heard about, rock band. And I'm like, okay, we'll go watch them that night. So we're sitting there watching the warm-up band. I'm sitting at a little bitty table. It's like a 4-top that you can get like 8 drinks on. It's like real small.
Right.
But anyway, we're sitting there watching, and there's some dude beside me with a cowboy hat, long hair, and some girl sitting there with him. Got a bucket, maybe 2 buckets of beer sitting there slamming them back. So the band gets done, the warm-up band.
They don't count.
Beers don't count. So he had not had. So that is why he's not had any beers. But
Exactly
anyway,
right.
so we're sitting there talking after the warm-up band's on. He's like, "Hey, do you like that band?" I'm like, "Yeah, man." He goes, "Who you here for?" I was like, "I'm here to see the Johnson Brothers." I said, "One of the people I work with, she liked this on her Facebook page." I'm like, "Well, hell, I'm not doing anything." So me and my wife went out, some friends. He's like, "Oh yeah, okay." 2 minutes later, walks on stage after drinking bucket and a half of beers with his wife or girlfriend. Starts singing. It's Chris Stapleton. I'm like, holy shit, okay. I didn't know who he was at the time, but if you've not heard him, Johnson Brothers, pretty good rock band. So there you go.
Yeah.
And before the Steel Drivers, I believe, maybe after. But
Okay. I don't know anything about that. I love music. I don't listen to Johnson Brothers. You're saying they're
Johnson.
They're a rock band?
They're a rock band. They're just banded. I mean, he was in there.
Right.
So he was a lead singer, I think lead guitarist, but he was in that one. He was in the Steel Drivers, and he's had a solo career. So he's from like Paintsville area, Paintsville, Kentucky.
Okay.
From all accounts, I mean, I think he's a really good dude. I mean, I know he was up there in the flood relief. Like, they didn't know who the hell he was for the first day and a half he was helping. Like, I mean, he fits in, right? Long hair, string hair, you're wearing a hat, you got shit all over you.
Most of the time, people that you would not expect to be who they are, like you see them out in person, it's just like, they look like everybody else that's standing around. Like, what's unique? They don't just have this fucking gigantic star over their head saying, "I'm famous and I'm rich."
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, and in all fairness, he's just probably famous and rich over the past what?
I'd say closer to 7. I mean, he sold out.
I would
Okay.
say less than 10, but
less than 10, probably 7, 8. But he sold out the football stadium over there. Commonwealth Stadium. I will not cut Kroger Field, but
100% agree.
And then we did that Kentucky benefit here. He was there for that. Tyler Childers.
Okay.
I mean, I think he kind of spearheaded that, or him and his team. So.
He's actually playing at What's the one? It's not Keeneland now. It's over at Red Mile. The festival. What's the fucking festival?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
See if I didn't say it, you would remember.
I can't think of the name of it.
What's the fucking festival, Jade? The one at it was at Keeneland.
What's it called? It's like a
The 2-day festival.
3-day
Red Mile?
Railbird.
Yeah, Railbird.
Good job.
Said bird. I was like, yes.
That took 4 of us. And we
He's like,
fucking
That's I meant that all along.
4 people. We got this.
He's actually playing at Railbird this year.
Really?
And
That's
I
actually
have
the big act for the Railbird.
That's
he is.
very
That'll
big.
probably be the first time that I've actually known one of the names on
Yeah,
this.
he's a headliner. He's a headliner, I think, on the second day. I just looked at it the other day because Kendra, my wife, she's been wanting to go, but like we've stayed
She's got
away
a cowboy
from it.
hat.
She does, and you wore it. So
I
you
did.
know.
Very good.
But we've stayed away from it because that fiasco from the first year. Do you remember what happened?
Oh, I
It's like
remember.
Oh,
Ran
the
out of water.
incident?
yeah,
Right,
they
yeah,
ran out
yeah.
of water. For anybody who's not familiar with Railbird, the first year they ran out of water and people couldn't get water, and it was like 100 million degrees outside, and people were like dying of thirst, and it was just like they were completely unprepared. And I think a lot of people wrote it off, but I guess they got their act together because they're still going, and like they moved from Keeneland over to the
They
Red
took
Mile
like
now.
a year or two off after
Did they?
that, I believe.
Did they really?
Yeah, I want to say. I think it might have just been 1 year.
Okay.
But yeah,
I've heard good things
thanks,
since then.
Thanks for reminding me about my time in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Standing out there, blazing in the sun, sweat pouring.
Yeah, you could have
And it
experienced
stops
that.
because you can't sweat anymore.
You could have experienced that, but watching, the Johnson brothers back then. I guess.
Johnson.
It's bleached
Johnson.
Johnson?
Jomp.
That's what I said.
What kind of
Booby
You
trap.
said Johnson.
That's what I said. Booby
Johnson.
trap.
You know what most people carry with them though during the day?
Gun?
Pocket pour.
Oh.
Just so happens. So we want to try a comparison
What the
today.
fuck?
Let me just explain it to you.
So for everybody listening and not watching, you can
It's a
watch on
Kentucky
YouTube.
Gentleman.
Yeah, we got YouTube / Arsenic Culture.
Subscribe, like, please.
He just pulled a fucking flask out of his pocket.
No,
Kentucky
that's a
Gentleman.
half pint.
No, but I mean it's like the
Plastic.
flask bottle.
Plastic.
Yeah.
Here.
I know.
Here. I'm gonna make sure everybody.
I'm trying to give you some credit here, buddy.
Oh, it's a flask. It's a very. It's a. For those of you not watching, it's a very nice flask with initials on it.
He's like, no,
It's
no,
not
I don't
plastic
have money.
at all.
I just like buy plastic.
So anyway, the reason I brought Kentucky Gentleman, there's only one good reason to bring this. I want to compare it to it. So
Okay.
this is also a Buffalo Trace product, well, Sazerac product. It is also a blended whiskey. It is also 51% bourbon and 49% grain neutral spirits.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break for a second, and we're going to have our buddy Jade pour us blinds. Well, we should probably taste this first.
I already did, but yeah, go ahead.
Let's taste it first, and then we're going to have Jade pour us
I
blinds.
think I already know what it tastes like.
Yeah, but let's try it if you can tell the difference. All right. Let's give some tasty notes.
I
on the
feel like there
Traveler
might be
whiskey.
some like revenge pours coming, but anyway, let's.
No, I promise. No revenge pours. No
As
revenge
soon
pours.
as Jason texted me and said, "Hey, do y'all have any Kentucky Gentlemen? Could you go ahead and buy one and bring it to the podcast?" I'm like,
Well, but
"Oh, here we go."
But tell 'em the-
Lord episode 2.0.
tell them the story about this. So you don't have any 750s.
Correct. No, as crazy as this is, ever since Kentucky Eagle took over distribution for Sazerac products, they don't have enough warehouse space to take on all the products that pretty much would, cover the demand needed. So a lot of stuff that's started to fall through the cracks and not be available
Right.
are the lower end products like Kentucky Gentleman, Kentucky Tavern, 99s, Fireball, stuff like that. And
Damn, 99 Fireball. I'm sure you sell a lot of
yeah,
that.
absolutely. So Kentucky Gentleman, I only had it in 2 size options:
Huh.
a half pint and a handle.
And we took the half pint. We took the half
Kentucky Tavern, we had.
They're probably the same
Yeah,
price
Kentucky
anyway.
Tavern.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kentucky,
Kentucky
Tavern,
Tavern,
we
yeah.
had pints and half pints. We didn't have fifths or handles.
I saw it laying
like
down there, yeah.
nothing. I'm just
That's hilarious.
So we were talking about Kentucky Gentleman, and we wanted to do a blind, but honestly, I don't know Traveler whiskey well enough. I'm assuming you all don't either to even matter or tell the difference. So why don't we just pour it side by side
Okay,
and just
yeah.
see if we can tell the difference. So the only thing about this, it is blended whiskey. It is 51% bourbon, 49% neutral grain, same as Traveler, but it is 80 proof, where Traveler is 90 proof.
Right.
Get you a big pour, Matt, as much as you'd like. If you kill the bottle, Andrew will not be mad, I don't think.
You've already sipped the Traveler, and you still have more of the Traveler in your glass than you do the Kentucky Gentleman.
Well, I'm
I think
thinking
you need a little bit more.
I'm thinking the
pour-
Traveler might be better, but I don't know.
I did pour a little bit more just to like even the playing.
So
field
when's
here.
the last time you've had Kentucky Gentleman? I don't even know if I can tell you.
Last weekend?
Really?
No.
I was legit impressed. Hell yeah, man.
I'm gonna get a little bit.
Yo,
Kentucky Tavern might be a little bit different of a story.
Depending on what you're
Pass it
doing,
back to her
I'm not
buddy.
gonna fucking knock if you have Kentucky Gentlemen. Like, if you're
you wanna
going
try
to
them
it,
both?
huh?
You want to try them both? Okay.
If you're gonna go to a concert or something,
Oh, for
and-
sure.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, and they got Kentucky Gentlemen, and like we're gonna mix it with like some Coke or some shit. I'm not gonna fucking knock you.
Nah, vodka.
I'm not gonna knock that either. I'm not gonna knock that either.
Somebody went to a Tower Children's concert recently and went to Liquor Barn and bought some wild turkey to maybe potentially take in. I don't know who that'd be.
No,
But
is it the same guy that keeps going all the fucking barrel picks that nobody else can go
not
to?
not that guy for
No,
sure.
not that guy?
Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe
see,
that
I
guy.
forgot to take my flask when we went to go see the PBR.
Let's say there was no problem getting that wild turkey. I'm pretty sure I could have had it in my hand, and they'd been like, "It's going."
They
in.
literally
I don't care
nothing.
at all.
It's like when we're talking about going to the movie theater and the motherfuckers like squeezing like liquor into like a plastic bag and be like, "Hey, look how I can sneak this in." It's like nobody gives a shit. Just fucking like walk in with a fifth. I mean,
Me and Keisha were literally standing in line to go watch the rodeo, and like, fuck, we forgot to bring vodka to stuff in our pants. Like standing in line to go through the scanners, like, and the people are just standing beside you, like.
Yeah, just we should have brought some right here. So give it a taste, see what you think. I can already tell a big difference, honestly.
Yep.
Like huge. The nose and the taste.
Not sweet, sweet.
Yeah, for sure. So the Kentucky Gentleman to me is straight corn.
it is. It's all corn.
Yeah. It's a huge difference. Mellow corn. It's like mellow corn. The best spirit ever made from heaven to hell.
Not as good as mellow corn.
It is not as
Mellow
good. It is
corn.
not as good as mellow corn. That's true.
It's always in your top.
But what
10.
is
It's
mellow
gotta be.
corn? What is mellow corn a fifth? Probably 16, 18 bucks.
I think it's up to $17.99.
Yeah. What
Jesus
would Kentucky
Christ.
Gentleman be a fifth? Probably 13.
$7.99.
Even better.
Holy wait, are you being sarcastic or is that?
Oh no, he's legit.
It's
bottom
either
shelf.
$7.99 or $8.99.
So I used to
It's
drink.
sub 10.
I would drink Kentucky Gentleman when I was in college. You know what I mean?
I had Kentucky Tavern. There's a lot of well drinks places.
And I've had that too. But I've actually never had mellow corn.
what?
I've never had it.
That's our buddy Jade's favorite spirit.
You
Is
got to
it
keep
really?
that at your bar
It
all
is.
the time.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've
seriously,
had a lot of shit. I've had Kessler. You know what? It's
Smooth
smooth
as
silk.
Smooth silk.
Yeah. When I was, I had a bunch of buddies at the restaurant I worked with, and they fucking always had a handle of Kessler, and we should walk in and just be like, "Kessler, smooth silk," and then we fucking drink it. And I'd be like, "You know what, motherfucker? It is smooth silk. I
God,
like that
it is
shit."
not smooth as silk.
At the time, it was, but you know what? Beer don't count.
I've never drank silk though, so it could be. It could be.
We'd always be like 6 deep, but again, beer don't count. So that's,
True.
At the time, it was smooth as silk.
So let's talk about the differences on these. So I mean, I think I would say the Traveler's better. Would anybody disagree with that?
No.
Okay, but is
to
it?
me, this is sugared corn. This is like a sweet confectionery sugar vanilla top flavor.
Vanilla, yeah, for sure. I get that for sure. So when you look at retail, and you're saying let's say $10 a fifth, and $40 a fifth,
So $10 for
Kentucky Gentleman.
Yeah.
40 for Traveler. Do you think it's that much better?
I'm buying Kentucky Gentleman.
I probably am too,
Personally.
because I'm probably mixing either one of these, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, but Traveler's better. We'd all agree with that.
It's just
I
like
agree.
even when the Heaven Hill 6-year green still,
I like
existed.
that one.
Like I thought it was good, but at the same point in time,
Take it
like,
back. Don't say it.
Yeah.
I would have 2 or 3 glasses of it neat, and then I'd be like, okay, now I need to put some L8 with this. Like it's getting.
I do like L8 with a little
Yeah.
crushed ice in
See,
there.
there you go. Nothing
shit's
wrong with
good.
that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Well, especially when you were getting that for $10 or under. You know what I mean? $12 or under,
100%.
even at most.
It was a fantastic bottle
For
as
sure.
cheap as it
But
was.
now when they made it 7-year blue and whitish label,
for
that's,
like $53.98.
that's a
or something like
that's a
that.
hard pass.
a
That is
big
a hard
time pass.
So for this one, I mean, I think Kentucky Gentleman's probably a pass at retail, even for most times.
Mm-hmm.
But with the Traveler, now what do you think? Do you think $40 retail for a blended whiskey that you really don't know what the hell's in it? Do you think you'd buy this, Matt, for MSRP?
I'm somewhere in between. So at this point, with the way the market is, I don't think $40 is exactly breaking the bank.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like if I had my druthers or if I had my option, like I could definitely pick, like 10 or 20 other that I'd have for that price over this one. My go-to, Russell 10. I was
about to say that my only issue is the $40.
Right. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of options.
I can go through and name a lot of stuff that sits on the shelf every day.
Exactly.
Four
right.
Roses single barrel.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Wild Turkey 101.
Yeah.
Like there's
gobble gobble. I said throw it out there.
There's like a literal,
litany
list
of
hundreds
options,
of whiskeys, and it's just like.
I agree with you, and that's why I say
and then regular Buffalo Trace when you find it 24, 25.
I thought about mentioning that one now, on one side
but,
of things, but like at the same point in time, I do think that Buffalo Trace, in like the base of its actual product, is about to be a shelf stable product.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that.
Wait.
So I actually made some notes on Buffalo Trace.
What do you mean? Okay, go ahead.
So like regular Buffalo Trace bourbon, like I think it is getting to the point to where now the supply that they are actually coming out with is going to meet the market demand.
Why?
Mostly volume for one, yes, but then also mostly because all of these people that's been collecting and COVID really spiked that because, wealthier people all of a sudden were like, well, now I'm working from home and I don't have anything to do. Right. So I'll spend, $5,000 on this bottle of Pappy 23.
Right.
And they're looking in their closets and they're saying,
I got all this shit.
I've got 48 bottles of Buffalo Trace. Like,
yeah, what am I
and
doing?
then they're passing on it at the store.
Right.
So it's just like Sazerac Rye, Henry McKenna 10. That's two of the first
now
ones.
McKenna 10 though, that
as
price
well as
went
price,
up. That
as well
price
as
went
price.
up a lot.
And I mean Sazerac Rye's same story.
It's $40
$36.98 is what we have at a liquor barn now. So
no offense to you all, but too much no matter what
that's
MSRP.
$2 over $35 straight cash for secondary price.
Yep.
And so like people are not just grabbing it anymore. They're not saying, "Oh, well, I better get this." Like it's not going to be available next week.
Well, the big reason
when it was $28.98.
The big reason too, and the stats are a little bit old. So in 2018, Kentucky distilleries filled 2.1 million barrels.
Okay,
I am sure that number is way higher now. That's 5.5 years ago.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, for sure. So Buffalo Trace themselves, they're in the middle of they're on the last third of a 10-year $1.2 billion with a B expansion.
Okay.
So they are adding 1 barrel warehouse every 3 months. That's huge. Each warehouse holds 58 to 59,000 barrels. They're adding one every 3 months, like building.
Literally, or is that like theoretically?
Literally. No.
Wasn't
literally.
it like they filled their 6 millionth barrel in 2019, and then in like 2023 they filled their 7 millionth, and then 2022, and then in 2023 they filled their 8 millionth. So they
time
they
between
went
them
from,
is shrinking
yeah,
crazy.
Like now
now.
they're literally filling 1 million barrels in under a year.
Yep.
Like that's insane.
And they have to keep expanding just to like accommodate.
Yeah,
all
but
those
I mean,
barrels.
you go back 10 years ago, Buffalo Trace had the capabilities to distill 24/7, 365, but they didn't because they didn't need to.
And now they do, and they have it doubled.
Correct.
So you look at there's in 2018, 9.1 million barrels aging in the state of Kentucky. Yeah. There's a lot of distilleries, right?
Right.
So how many of those 9.1 do you think would be Buffalo Trace?
I don't know.
To guess. I mean,
How many of the 9.1 million barrels are Buffalo Trace barrels?
It's 1 million. 1 million. That's a pretty big chunk.
Yeah.
For one distillery.
I would have been way off again.
Still though, that's a big.
I really thought that was going to be a trick question. But
That's a big chunk. I mean, that just tells you, and they're still expanding.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing again 1.2 billion a 10-year expansion to more than double capacity.
Which if they have 1 million barrels aging, that goes to tell you they're dumping 1 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because if they're able to go from 2022 to 2023 and have 1 million barrels filled, then they must be dumping that much as well.
I went to the distillery yesterday and picked up this bottle. They have these at the distillery. It's hard to get them anywhere else. They're actually flying off shelves, honestly, right now. But when I went there, they have a receiving for like tractor and trailers. It was backed out to the road, in the road, with tractor trailers sitting there. So they probably had 15 trucks waiting to get in.
Really?
Wow.
Like just crazy amount of volume. And their gift shop is packed. I mean, they open at 9 a.m. every morning. They're guaranteed sold out by 2 p.m., whatever release they have that day.
Yeah.
Eagle Rare, Eagle Rare, E.H. Taylor. What else they do? Weller
90.
and then Blanton's. That's the 4, I guess they
Sazerac
do.
Rye.
Well, they always have that generally, and they always have Buffalo Trace.
And see, that also goes back to, because 6, 7, 8 months ago, I was like, Sazerac Rye, it's about to be a shelf-stable item.
It's got to be close.
And
Buffalo
because
Trace
you
should be.
already saw, like, hey, Sazerac Rye still available from 3 or 4 days ago at Buffalo Trace. It's like, oh, so that's the only one that's not sold out that day. Like, that's different.
You know, it
now you
also-
can buy a case of Buffalo Trace there.
For sure. And it also makes me wonder about a product like this, the Traveler Whiskey, so blended. Do you think maybe Buffalo Trace is like exploring options if the shit hits the fan? Like if we can't move as much bourbon as we thought, maybe we can just do this, like a blended?
Well, I mean, you could look at it that way, or you could also look at it as, well, how can we give the consumers a product they can walk into any package store and purchase any day of the week?
And this is
because
it.
you can make that in no time.
Oh,
You can be like,
yeah.
boom, done, made.
That's actually a really interesting thing to bring up because I feel like
very interesting.
the overarching theme here is that we talk about beer and bourbon a lot. We talk about beer died years ago, a couple years ago. Bourbon is, you look at the secondary market, you look at like
crashing.
value stuff,
It's crashing.
it's going down. And then you look at some of these big brands like Buffalo Trace that are expanding. And all of a sudden, like what happens when they join the rest of, the market that just like tempers out and it gets back to normal. And something like this, it's like, it's $40 for a bottle of Traveler's whiskey. Mm-hmm. It's not like the cheapest you can get. It's definitely not the most expensive that you can get, but it's a perfect area to test to see what people would buy or what people would think of it. You know what I mean?
I agree with that.
And the product in there, the medium, the spirit, it's very neutral. We haven't even really talked about this, like the actual liquid in here.
There's not much that's going on with it. It's one dimensional.
It is
Swedish vanilla.
Yes,
And there's not a lot of flavors.
There's
or complexity
nothing
you're getting
that's-
from it.
yeah.
It's boring. Like
that's a hard word to say.
But the simple way to put it is it's boring.
It
You know what
is.
I mean?
Like sometimes
When you get done, I'll give my review. Go ahead.
Well, but that's like perfect for like the analogy that we're giving. So it's like it's almost like let's see what can happen. Let's put like a a medium price on there. Let's take a product that is approachable, but like it's like inoffensive, but it's not like overly complex.
it's still going to be great for a lot of people.
Right? Yeah, and
Good
then
mixer,
let's
good
see how
mixer.
it goes. Yeah, exactly right. Like this is what you to your point, Jason. Like about
That's
like
me.
yeah, like are they preparing to see if the shit hits the fan? That's actually a very interesting
Because
thing
I
to
think,
point
I mean,
out.
you look at the cycle, right? So blended whiskey was big in 70s, maybe early 80s, 60s, 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
Because people didn't want bourbon. They wanted something, the grain neutral stuff. They wanted the gins, the vodkas, whatever.
Yes, exactly right.
So I feel like we're kind of going back in that same damn circle right now. I mean, look at where we're moving.
Everything
So-
is
Because I mean,
cyclical,
back
yeah.
then you're talking about when Four Roses literally did not have a.
It was
bourbon.
blended. Exactly.
It was a blended
Exactly.
whiskey.
Yeah,
And it's like,
it cracks me up when people buy these old ass bottles of Four Roses on secondary. I'm
Yeah,
like,
man,
you know
then,
that's
like-
bullshit, right? Like it's
Like-
a pretty label. It ain't worth a shit if you're
what,
gonna open.
it's like what year is it? Like you don't even see a photo of it. They're just like, oh, I got this dusty, Four Roses for cheap. They sold it to me for $70.
Yeah,
Like,
no joke.
Okay, what year's it from? And then they tell you, and it's like, oh,
77. Like no.
Yeah.
So what would you say? Tasting notes or review on the Traveler whiskey, Matt?
it's like I said, it's inoffensive. Like it's very neutral.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't get a lot of anything out of it.
Adam, Andrew, same person.
Hi, my name's Adam.
Andrew.
Hi,
You're
my
starting with
name
an
is-
A.
Thanks for calling me my brother. I appreciate
Oh, I
it.
didn't know that. Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
That's what he did that on purpose.
I have only
I don't even
spent,
know an Adam. I don't even know
every
an
year
Adam.
of my life, having even my own mother say, Adam. I'm like,
Oh, dude.
wrong son.
My mom calls me like every name that she knows besides my own. I'm like, I know who you're talking about. Just
Dumbass,
point at me.
fucking
yeah.
idiot.
That's it. How'd you know? How did you know?
That-
So what do you think of this one?
So I mean, I feel like the mixer is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Like, but at the same point in time,
It's a $40 mixer.
after I mean, and how much money how much money did you spend on the Steph Curry bottle?
190 to 100. This is better.
I would take 2.5 of those.
Yep.
Tenfold.
Yep.
Over that. I mean, it just
Man, I'm gonna say something bad about them. They'll probably be pissed if they ever listen to this. But
Fuck 'em.
Boone County, man. I don't know what you're doing with your own distillate. It is not the right
go
move.
back to MGP.
Just redo what you're doing. Like take an honest look at it. It's not the right move. I mean,
No,
I'm sorry, it's not.
I mean, honestly though, like I think the only issue they're really running into, like it could be good whiskey. It's just not
got
old
potential,
enough.
I guess.
I mean, it's just like with Woodford barrel picks. Like, so they make you do like a 2 to 3 barrel blend. Majority of the time, you'll get 1 or 2 of those barrels. It'll be column still bourbon from Old Forester, and then you'll get like 1 or 2 of the barrels. It'll be pot still from Woodford. Every now and then, someone will actually get a 100% pot still Woodford barrel pick. You know how old it is?
4.
No, around 8 years old.
Okay.
So one of the biggest issues is with pot still bourbon, like at that, typical like 5, 6, 6.5 year age that, we're used to being able to get some really good quality characteristics out of a barrel proof bourbon. You don't get it with pot still. It still has that young sweet corn flavor that kind of leaves that nasty little aftertaste in your mouth.
Yeah.
It is different.
Like Kentucky Gentleman, yeah.
I think there's really just one way for me to sum up the Traveler Whiskey Dove when I think about it. It's as smooth as Tennessee whiskey.